Hey students, lesson 8.1 here. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to classify, add, and subtract polynomials. All right, go ahead and do the review here. I'll check back with you. All right, first thing we're going to do is talk about how to classify monomials and polynomials. The degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents of its variables. The degree of a non-zero constant is 0. Monomials are single-term expressions, so these are all monomials, and so they can have addition, or they can't have addition or subtraction. They can only have multiplication in them. All right, and the degree of a monomial is the sum of its exponents of its variables. The degree of a non-zero constant is 0. So let's do C right now. That's a constant, and it's not 0, so that's a 0 degree monomial. Okay. And so on this one, we're going to add the exponents. So we get 2 plus 5 equals 7. So that's a 7 degree monomial. And then this one, you got to remember that if there is no power, it's actually the first power. So that's a first degree monomial. All right, you try that. All right, adding and subtracting monomials. Basically what we're doing here is we're looking for like terms. And it's a distributed property that allows us to do this. So think about this expression. Notice that it has 2 of the same factors. So we really could write this as 2 plus 7, the quantity 2 plus 7 times x squared using the distributive property. And then we could just simplify 2 plus 7, it's 9x squared, and we don't need parentheses anymore. But the shortcut would be just to add the coefficients if you have like terms. So can we have like terms here? We're just going to do 8 minus 3. Think about that, and then times our x squared y, and that's 5x squared y. All right, you try that. Okay, you can also name a polynomial based on the degree or the number of monomials and its constants. If it's a 0 degree polynomial, then it's called a constant using the degrees. And then because there is only one term, it's called a monomial. The prefix mono means 1. Okay? If it's a first degree, and we're just talking about the first term here. So it's a first degree right there in the x. That's a linear polynomial. And the number of terms is 2. And because there's 2 terms, it's a binomial. So 2 meaning bi. If the highest power is a 2, then it's a second degree polynomial. And that has the name quadratic. The number of terms is 3, and that makes it a trinomial. Now, we don't have any names higher than that. From that point, you just call them polynomials. So, but a third degree polynomial is called a cubic. And since this one only has 1 term, it's a monomial. This last one has 3 terms, so it's a trinomial. And the highest term is 4th degree, so we call it a 4th degree polynomial. All right, go ahead and think about that, and we'll try and name these. First thing you want to do is look for the highest power. Since the highest power is 2, this is a second degree polynomial. And the second degree polynomial has a name, and that's quadratic. So this is a quadratic polynomial. And since there's 2 terms, it's actually a quadratic binomial. So it has two terms. All right. This next one here is not simplified. First thing we need to do is simplify, combine these two like terms here. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2x squared minus 4x third. Since it's a third degree, so it's third degree, and it has three terms. So we're going to call it a third degree polynomial. It's called and it's third degree because the highest power is 3. A third degree polynomial is called a cubic, and because it has three terms, we're going to call it a trinomial. So a cubic trinomial. All right, you try that. All right, we can add polynomials, and again, we just need to make sure we combine like terms. The revenue generated by a company and the cost of producing X units can be modeled by the polynomial below. Revenue equals 2x squared plus 120x. Revenue is like the amount of money you get. Sometimes it's called income. And cost, add the functions to determine the net profit or loss. Okay, the cost can be a positive or a negative, so we're just going to add these two together. And so this is my income, and then I'm going to combine that with my cost. All right, and I'm going to combine like terms. The parentheses don't matter because we're just adding here. So I'm going to do 2 plus negative 0.5x squared is 1.5x squared. 120 plus negative 300 is negative 180x. And then my constant term is 8,000. Nothing to add with that. So that equation represents the profit or loss. All right, you try that. All right, you can also subtract polynomials. Now, I'll give you two ways of doing this. You can subtract just using the distributive property. So I'm going to distribute the subtraction. So the second set of parentheses, remember if there's nothing there, it's really like a negative 1. So what I'm doing is distributing negative 1 into all of these. So I get minus 6x to the third minus 5x squared plus 4. And then I'm going to combine like terms. That gives me negative 4x to the third. Combining the 4x squared with the negative 5x squared gives me negative 1x squared. And combining the, there's nothing to combine with this, so I'm just going to put minus 3x for this plus 4. All right? The other way you can do it is just line it up like a subtraction problem. 2x to the third plus 4x squared minus 3x. And then we're subtracting, so put a minus out there. We're subtracting 6x to the third, 5x squared, and minus 4. Now, when you do this, you have to be careful. Everything's being subtracted. So 2 minus 6 is negative 4x to the third. 4 minus 5 is negative 1x squared. We got negative 3x, nothing to subtract from that as far as like terms. We probably should just move this over here. And we get negative 3 minus 0 is just negative 3x. And let's put a 0 here for our constant. And actually, we could put 0x there to fill that spot. And then 0 minus negative 4 is plus 4. All right, you try that. All right, that's it for this lesson. Go ahead and do the lesson check, and we'll talk about this next time we meet in class.